Welcome to a Soccer Down Here 1v1. Time to catch up with the new head coach of North Carolina FC, John Bradford. John, thanks for hanging out with us for a 1v1.
I appreciate it, John. Thanks for having me.
So, all right. So let's kind of break the fourth wall here a little bit. How'd you find out?
Well, obviously, it was kind of quiet after the season had ended back in October for a couple months, and all of a sudden it got a little bit more busy once we hit January, and it became clear to me, that they were going to go in a direction that was going to be a little bit more youth-driven, change in the league, obviously, and then I got a text between Steve Malik and Kurt Johnson asking me if I could jump on a call. So that's how I found out.
And what was your immediate reaction? Was there that pregnant pause of this is really happening, or what was the immediate reaction going on in your brain as you're having this call?
No, it was great. I mean, my immediate reaction was that I think that it makes a lot of sense of what the club's redirection and vision is going to be, and I'm just excited to be a part of it. And I think it's been a long time coming in terms of how to best serve our club.
When you look back at the time that you've been involved with North Carolina FC and the youth and all the academy side, how has it grown and evolved in all of that time to where it is now?
Yeah, I mean, this is my 15th year working with the youth club, and over that time, I started coaching U9 boys and girls teams, then got to be a director at some older ages, and then finally started working as the academy director in 2013. We went through the transition of wanting to connect to the pro club in town. Back then it was the Carolina Railhawks. We changed our academy program to be the Capital Area Railhawks, which then in turn gave opportunities for young players to come into the training environment with the pros and so on. After becoming North Carolina FC in 2016, that was the next evolution of the academy connection with our first team. Now we were having a more serious and thought out discussion about how these players could come into the environment and what they could get out of it. This last transition is kind of, like we said, the next progression of what makes sense. Now to put tangible opportunities for young players mixed with a quality standard of environment from the pro level, I think is the next step for us, and excited to be a part of it.
For those not familiar, and I know that obviously folks in North Carolina know about the triad and they know about the saturation and what the sport means and the growth and all that. But for those who are in other parts of the Southeast, other parts of the country that just know North Carolina FC for being North Carolina FC, can you break down the footprint, what it means, the growth, how the sport has grown and evolved? What is the footprint of North Carolina FC and the sport there in the triad?
Well, I mean, I think, this enters into around the 30th year of consistent professional soccer in our area. And the evolution of North Carolina FC has gone from being a standalone men's professional team in years past under different names and in different leagues, to tying in with North Carolina FC Youth, formerly Castle and Triangle Football Club Alliance, the two clubs that came together to form the foundation of North Carolina FC. So I think the footprint is that it's the largest youth to pro soccer club in the United States that now has a tangible, active, connected, and working professional environment at the top of the pyramid.
When you talk about philosophy, what is your philosophy when it comes to not just on the field in a game state, but when it comes to developing talent, getting them ready for those next stages of their life? When it comes to philosophy for you, what is your philosophy in the sport?
I think it boils down to the time and energy that we want to expend as coaches and developers, and cultivating the same like-mindedness from our players. Yesterday when the announcement went out, I got a lot of great feedback from former players and guys that were happy for me. And it's amazing to look and see what state of life all those players are in now. I'm looking on LinkedIn, and these guys all have much better jobs than I did when I was their age. But, we have a mission of creating quality people. And to your point, on the field, the style of play, the energy, the excitement. We want to have a brand of soccer that's fun to watch and fun to be a part of, hard to play against. But off the field, we want good people, and we want them to understand, one of the first things we're going to do is make sure that our young guys understand what kind of opportunity they have, what that means, how they need to take care of it, what they have as a responsibility to our fan base. Because our fans, I think, are going to look at this and some of them are going to blindly say, yes, we're supportive. Some of them are going to say, let's see what it looks like. So I think we have a responsibility to those fan base and to grow the community. And I want our players to kind of feel that.
Well, and at the same time, when you're talking about fans, we talked about it on the show in and of itself when the announcement was made that North Carolina FC was going from USL Championship to USL League One. We were of the mindset that fans are fans of North Carolina FC regardless of where they are in the soccer pyramid. It's like your fans will follow you because they're fans of what you're doing and who you are. What has that feedback been somewhat universal there as well when the announcement was made about going down from Championship to League One?
I think so. I mean, I think the way that the information came out, that there was kind of a confusion with the club status of not only what league, but just kind of playing and going forward. I think, but once it was made clear that League One was going to be the transition, but the club was going to remain, still play at Wake Med, still have the same kind of appeal that we want to have to our community. It's been a really great response in terms of support for the club. And like I said, I think we feel a responsibility to meet that expectation and put something that's fun and exciting to watch for people that want to come out and support.
And at the same time, in League One, you are part and parcel to other clubs who are going along the same track that you are. You've got a South Georgia Tormenta who is doing the same things with League One and League Two and academies and such. Chattanooga Red Wolves are trying to do the same thing. Richmond Kickers have been a part of the Southeastern soccer footprint for over 25 years, developing talent from Lee Cowlishaw and working their way to where they are now in League One. So you're in a league with a lot of like-minded folks following the same vision that you guys have there at North Carolina FC.
Yeah, and I think that's exciting. I mean, obviously the difference of all the different kind of clubs that make up League One, like you mentioned, several of the clubs have a progression, a youth-based pathway that they want to have is what they're doing, and then you have some that their goal is to win, and they might have a different kind of roster composition, but both of which I think will be a challenge and an exciting opportunity for our guys to match up against and see how it goes. And again, the relationships, the people I know in League One that are on these different clubs and different staffs, really looking forward to seeing these guys on the sideline and working closely together going forward.
Do you remember your first day on the job?
My first day on the pro job,
yeah.
Yes.
15 years ago, do you remember that first day?
Well, yeah. So my first as a youth coach, sure. Yeah. I mean, I remember had just left Furman University, had moved out to West Texas, where soccer was secondary to high school football, and literally living in Midland, Texas, we were trying to start a soccer club, and I was trying to convince athletic football type players to come play soccer. And yes, I will never forget those first moments there. But I tell you, between myself and Anthony Esquivel, a friend of mine, we played Furman together and started coaching together. We really were able to grind our teeth and cut our teeth and coach a lot of sessions and just immerse ourselves in the idea of coaching and learning what works and what doesn't work and all that. And so over my short career so far, I've been really fortunate to work with good people and have good opportunities, and that's how I look at this as well.
So then if I was to tell that person 15 years ago that we would be having this conversation today about this next stage in your coaching career, what would you have told me then?
I don't know if I would have believed it. I don't know if I could have seen it then, maybe as time went on. But I think that the one thing I've always been is driven and ambitious, and then always wanted to try to provide for those around me and meaning the players. So, from that perspective, what we're going to become and the vision of what we have for this club, I can see it, and I think it's going to be something tangible that I want our players to be excited about, and I think they will be.
How have you grown, matured, changed as a coach and a mentor in that 15 years?
Tremendously. I mean, and just from what I thought was important early on to what I know is important now, and to also recognizing that I know very little comparatively to many coaches that have been doing this longer and better than I have for a long time. And the last 2 years, I'd be remiss without saying I didn't learn so much from Coach Saracen, who's become a great mentor to me, and appreciate his friendship and everything. But even to Dave or to other coaches I've worked with in the past, what's clear is if you work hard, you treat people well, and you do things in a positive environment, usually that's a decent recipe for success.
North Carolina FC head coach John Bradford hanging out with us here for a Soccer Down Here 1v1 as we discuss his new job, the new job title. Now, do you have the triangle on your desk that says John Bradford head coach, the wooden triangle that's got the thing that they normally would paste on the door? Do you have that yet? Do you have business cards yet?
Not yet, not yet. I think, everything's slowed down with the way things are, so maybe we'll get that down the road.
I know that a lot of folks have to-do lists, and for me, it's on about 5 or 6 different legal pads at any given point in time as to what those to-do lists are. Some folks have them on whiteboards. Some folks had them, and I was about to date myself with a reference. Some folks have them in their Blackberries or their Google Drives or whatever. It could be on a big board in your office. It could be on a small magnetic board on your fridge with dry erase markers. When it comes to that dry erase board and that to-do list, what are the next markers on your to-do list now that you are head coach of North Carolina FC?
Yeah, great question. I mean, the first thing that I wanted to do, was be thankful, and then start with staff, make sure that we were set up for success as we go forward. And obviously there's, great people that have been involved with the organization and wanted to make sure. So I'm excited to continue to work with Mike McGinty as the assistant coach with the club, excited to continue working with Nick Platter as the assistant GM, Sean Wilson, our trainer, and others. And the other part of this whole equation is the academy staff. And the way that I am and the way that I want this to be is open doors, open arms. We got to all do this together. And that takes, all the staff at each level, pro and youth. It takes the families that are supporting these players as they're going on their journeys. And it takes the community to get behind everything.
When it comes to seeing that U9 turn into a U13, when you see that U13 turn into a U17, when you see them getting the chance with the parent club, and when you get to see these athletes grow and evolve and you see that light come on when it comes to what they're learning, what they're being taught, not just on the field, but off, when you get to see that light turn on for that athlete, what's that moment like for a coach with all of that investment that's come from both sides, the player and the family and the organization? When you see that light come on, what's that like for a coach?
I think it's everything. It literally is everything in terms of what we're trying to do with player development. And when you see a player step into an environment, either with confidence or lack of confidence or however that individual may be, but step up to the plate, rise to the occasion and ultimately achieve. I think that's why coaches coach, and ultimately for me and being passionate as I am about player development, it's everything. And so I think the way that we transition this, the way that we actually are able to give players more than they've had in the past, but actual tangible minutes, year-long player pathways and IDPs of what makes sense for them, all leads towards that point of, making it. And then the way that we'll have it is then preparing them for what's beyond.
A lot of folks like me always like to ask this question when it comes to an upcoming season to a new head coach. What is your expectation level? And you can quantify it however you want when you answer. I mean, a lot of folks, a lot of coaches will sit there and say, well, yeah, I think a realistic expectation for us is to make the playoffs. Realistic expectation is X, Y, or Z. I'm going to leave that part out. When it comes to expectations for North Carolina FC in USL League One in 2021, what are your expectations for the club?
Well, I think that the way that we're going to go about it is we're going to measure success in a couple different ways. It's not all wins and losses, although that's extremely important. And I want our mentality and mindset to be that we're not playing games just to play games, and we're not giving opportunities just to give opportunities, that there is a purpose to it, and we want to be successful. But I think the overall way that we can expect to be for this upcoming season is we want to put a high energy, entertaining, fun to watch, competitive, and doing things the right way type club, type team on the field for fans to get behind on the weekend games.
When it comes to being a coach, an advisor, a mentor in the last, let's say, 10 months, how much of a challenge has it been for you as a coach and a mentor as a part of this organization to do your job and do it as best you can in this current environment that we're living in?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been a challenge I know it's been a challenge for everybody in certain degrees. And for me, my wife's a school teacher. She was back teaching in person in August. My kids, I've got 10 8 on Friday and 5 as my 3 children who've been out of school and all that. And obviously all of our players in the program that are going through this kind of withdrawal and whatnot. We've become as much counselors as we have coaches, and I think transitioning to getting back on the field with our program in August and doing social distance training, and then going into playing games, all that kind of stuff, from the youth standpoint, it's been, as counselors with the professional team, it's just really been trying to help manage different life career points that they're at and what the expectations are. I don't think there's certain guys on the team last year that expected maybe their last season of professional soccer to look the way it did. Then there's others that were hoping for more of a platform to be able to step up and maybe advance. So, the relationships, the communication with players, taking the extra moment, shoot a text, make sure everybody's all right, see if there's anything we can do. I think that's the transition, that we've become more support systems than maybe on-field tactical coaches.
Any idea as to timetables for a possible season? Do you know anything? What's the latest? Because I know that fans are interested in watching their favorite teams play. What's the latest? Is there a latest when it comes to a USL League One season in 2021? Any ideas?
Yeah, I mean, USL Board of Governors meetings are taking place now, albeit virtually and everything. But I think they're working hard to be intelligent and keep the players' safety at the forefront of decisions that are going to be made. But I think we should know in the next week or so what it looks like for the season. The rumors are that it may get pushed back to May. But I think everything's leaning towards having a season and trying to manage it in the most safe and healthy way.
North Carolina FC head coach John Bradford, talking pretty much anything and everything. Thanks for being a great guest here on Soccer Down Here for an SDH 1v1. We'll be keeping an eye on things. We'll be catching up soon. Thanks for being a part.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Thanks for having me.